I have to admit, I was wrong.
Illustrations by me.
So when I was first talking about the Thule paint pens, I was wrong. I'm completely wrong. I said, you know, the skin tones, if you look at this over here, I'll show you. See, I said there's only a couple of skin tones right up here. These are not skin tones unless you're a pig. I'm not discriminating against pig people. Some of my best friends were pig people. But on the box, it doesn't look like there are a lot of skin tones. Just a few. And that's about it. Maybe 6 or 7 of them. The rest of them look like they're not skin tones. And I said they shouldn't call this the Earth and Skin Tone set. They should just call it Earth Set, because that would be better. However, when I put them down on paper, I was wrong. Their majority of them are skin tones, and they're great. If that's what you do, that's wonderful. That's not what I do. I don't do drawings of people or anything like that, so it's a little different for me. But you can make abstract art with any colors, so I'm gonna do this with these pens and see how it works. Maybe I can make something with it, but I'm gonna swatch out all the colors. You'll see. I'll swatch out all the colors, and when they dry, they're actually a different shade than when you first put them down. You put them down, they look light. You're like, oh, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, they dry and they become very opaque and very solid. It reminds me of like gouache almost, but they're acrylic paints. Alright, so I'll start by showing you all the colors, and then we'll get into a drawing. Okay, so this Thule company got a couple of things right about these markers. You see that little strip on the side of the marker, and I try to show you a little bit later. It shows you how much paint is still inside the marker. That is genius. If Posca were watching this, I would like you to do that on your pens, because you never know. You start something and you just run out of paint pen, and it's it. It's over. You're done unless you have another one in reserve. But it would be nice to know when you're running low so you could buy another one. Now with these pens, you cannot buy them individually, so that kind of stinks, because now if I run out, I can't get an individual one. I gotta buy a set, and usually you gotta buy the whole set. Now they're cheap enough where that might not be a problem, but you don't really want to buy a whole set just to get one pen all the time, especially if it's a color you use a lot. That could be really annoying. But these colors, they work pretty well. And while I said yes, they have a lot of skin tones, and they do, they have some things in there. For me, when I'm looking at this, it's more like a Southwest United States kind of colors, that desert kind of color, that kind of thing. And that's kind of how, when I was done with the painting or drawing or whatever you want to call it, that's kind of what I feel like. I said, okay, it looks like it's from that area. That's the kind of color palette it is. So overall, great. I did not check. I should have done more preparation, but I didn't. So I don't know if these are light fast at all. It doesn't say anything on the box, doesn't say anything on the pens, at least that I remember. Now I know some of you make a big deal about that. I sometimes make a big deal about that and say, you know, your stuff should be light fast, so that when you give that card to your grandma who just baked you cookies, that it doesn't fade on her and she doesn't think her eyesight is failing because a week later. That don't use Copic markers for your grandmother's card. You use something that's light fast that she's going to be able to look at for a while. So don't do that to her. So, but this, I don't know. I don't put my art in a window facing the sun for 6 months. So that BS number that, oh, this is the light fastness, it's going to last 100 years or it's going to last 50 years. Read the fine print. It says in museum conditions, and I don't have a museum in my house, and if you do, you're definitely not putting my art in it. You may have been that person that bought the invisible sculpture. That's probably something that they would buy if they had a museum in their house. But not this stuff. This is not what you put in there. But I don't put my artwork up on a wall in direct sunlight, period, ever. There's never a time when the sun is hitting the artwork, ever. You don't do that. It's just, if you value the artwork, you don't want to have to do that. You're going to destroy it eventually. even if it's just the paper that gets destroyed, you're going to have something get destroyed. So I would not do that. So, but I would like to know if these are light fast. I've got to check that out, and maybe one day I'll let you know whenever I find out. So I'm not really sure. Now the cool thing about these is on the box it says you can paint this on like ceramic or whatever, and then you put it in the oven and bake it for an hour at 350 or 176 degrees Celsius if you're somewhere else in the world. But that would be pretty good. So you can paint ceramics with. You can use these for a lot of different things, and that's really cool. It's a great pen, and it actually felt good on the page. It wasn't difficult to draw. It wasn't difficult to do anything. So what I used was a clay board, and I will go ahead and link the description of what that is down below. You can take a look at it. But these clay boards, they absorb the water pretty quickly. I painted on them a couple of times, but they do suck down that water pretty well, and so it dried pretty quickly as I was going, and then I can go back and layer, and it was not that difficult. I didn't have to wait a long time for these to dry. I don't know how long I'd normally have to wait. And then when I swatched them out, it was on paper, so that absorbs water, and I don't know. So if you're painting on a canvas or something that's not porous, something that's completely sealed, I don't know how long these would take to dry. I know on these two things that I used here, it was very, very quick. And in case you're wondering, when I'm swatching them out, you see the little paper on the side. Those are just show notes. I'm not giving you a secret message to decode somewhere and go look somewhere in the files of a weird game or something. No, it's just that was notes from when I did the my favorite art supplies video. That's what that was. So don't worry about that. But this was a great experiment. I enjoyed these. I enjoyed using them. I enjoyed experimenting with them. And I think overall, I think that they were it's just a pleasant experience. And I'll definitely use these again. I'm thinking of starting to do a little bit more on like textured wood, and maybe doing some abstract stuff on that. So I'll let you know how that turns out. And I'm going to use these pens. They're perfect for it. It would work great. Okay, so I'm going to share something that I don't share with many people, but I want to share this with you, and that is that I am a little jealous of certain animals. And this is because they can have like one delicious meal of their favorite food and have it last all day because they chew cud. They have multiple stomachs, and they just get to chew that food over and over again, and it's delicious. Now, can you imagine if you're trying to lose weight, or even if you're not trying to lose weight, it doesn't even matter. You have a meal that tastes so good that you're drooling just thinking about it, and you eat it, and it's so delicious, and later you can just pop it back up into your mouth and chew it again. Can you imagine what that would be like? I can. Some nice baked ziti, or maybe some eggplant parmesan, or really anything with cheese, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Or how about some like a nice fudge brownie? Or maybe the cookie dough that you snuck while your grandmother was baking you those cookies. Now, most people trying to lose weight, they're cutting out their stomach, they're stapling their stomach, they're making it smaller, they're ripping it. I'm looking to get a second one. I think this would revolutionize weight loss. I can see the ads now. It'll say like, oh, guaranteed to lose weight eating your favorite foods. Eat one meal a day and feel like you're eating all day. I know a lot of us have dreams, and some of them are bigger than others, but I think that this is a worthwhile dream, and if they come out with that anytime soon, I may sign up for it, because I think that would be a great idea. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Would you sign up for that second stomach to chew your delicious meal again and never have to worry about feeling like you're not eating? Or did you think it's a great idea? Okay, so that was on the lighter side of the deep thoughts. This is going to get a little bit more serious. Don't freak out. Just bear with me. Let me discuss what I'm going to discuss with you. I think it's worthwhile to think about at least. Just think about it. That's all I'm asking you to do. So, you can approach your life like a victim and blame everyone for all your failures. It's always on someone else, and and social media platforms, and that's why, or because of your past experiences. And sometimes you talk to people and that's what they say. Oh, it's okay that you feel like that because when you were 3 years old, you saw a clown get out of a big car, and then you saw another clown get out of a small car, and that messed with your mind, and that's why you just beat that poor person on the ground. So don't do that. Let me get to this. So, when I was younger, a lot of my friends were in bands. And they kept telling me, oh, I got to go to California, or I got to go into New York City where the music scene is. That's where it's popping. And if I could just get their music in front of the right person, then it would really, I'd make it. I'd be wonderful if I could just get in front of the right person. And I hear that today from artists on social media. The algorithm would just push my art out to more people, and then I could make it. If the right person would give me a shout out, then everyone would see how wonderful my art is. You can approach every day like that and keep that mentality, but it won't do you any good. You'll develop anxiety and fear. Eventually you'll become overwhelmed with your own resentment. You'll become bitter. And you'll become just in general a miserable person. And then when someone does come along, maybe that could give you a chance, they'll be put off by how negative and bitter you are all the time. Or you can approach every day with some gratitude, feeling grateful just to be able to create and express yourself in a way that you enjoy. Maybe you don't have a lot of followers. Maybe you don't know how to promote yourself. I don't know how to promote myself. I'm terrible at that. Once in a while, I'll go on Facebook, where almost everyone has blocked me because they're sick of seeing my new video announcements. But that's okay. That's what I post there. I don't post anything else. So, look, I do not talk about religion or beliefs on this channel, okay? Because that's not what this channel is about. But I will share something with you. The first thing I do every day is I say a little prayer, and I thank God for every blessing in my life. My amazing wife, who is absolutely wonderful. I have no idea how you could ever have a relationship like this with someone. She's amazing. My little pup, the little pup who, even if I come home and I'm angry and I had a bad day, she just does the funniest stuff, and it just makes me smile. For my job, I have a job that is not my dream job. I like my job for the first time in my life, but it's not really my dream job. But it pays for the roof that's over my head, which I'm also grateful for. And for the car that I drive to work that starts in the morning. I've had times in my life where that was really, up until very recently, where that was an iffy situation. Maybe it would start, maybe it wouldn't start. I finally have a car that does start. I'm very grateful for that. And always I take a little time to be thankful for you, because this has, and I know that, I'm not saying this to just say it. Doing this for the last couple of years has really changed my life. And I'm very grateful for you, for the meeting people that are so interesting that I would have never met. And learning about you and having conversations with you. And it's just a wonderful experience to be a part of your life, and to have you a part of what I'm doing it's an amazing, this has changed my life. It's definitely one of the best things that's happened in a very long time. I'm not saying I don't find myself in challenging situations that make a bad day, and I get pissy sometimes, and sometimes I forget. But when you start your day just thinking about everything you're grateful for, everything that you're thankful for, everything that is wonderful that you have now that helps you in your life, and if you start your day that way, sometimes the little things that go wrong in your life, and sometimes even the big things that go wrong in your life, they don't affect you as much. You're not that bitter person who only focuses on those things. Yes, of course, I wish that whatever algorithm would push out my videos more, and you'll hear me say that once in a while. But I am so grateful for what I do have, and for the people that I have reached, and the people that have reached out to me and said, hey, nice to meet you, and I enjoyed this, or I disagree. You know how many people disagree? I've got one video out there almost every, I'd say at least once a month. It's from a couple of years ago when I first started. And at least once a month I'll get someone who disagrees with me and tells me I don't know what I'm talking about and I'm dumb, and that's okay. I'm very grateful for that person for reaching out to me and saying something. At least they're talking to me and they're sharing with me. I guess what I'm trying to say is, when you create and when you share your art, you focus on the fact that you were free to create that art. You did, and be grateful for the person who let you know that they enjoyed it, and keep your focus on that stuff. And all the other stuff, which may feel overwhelming at times, I'm not saying it doesn't, but when you start in that place, it takes a lot more to ruin your day. So that's all, just a little something to think about, and see if that helps you. See if it changes your attitude a little bit throughout the day. See if maybe you can enjoy yourself a little bit more. So thank you for sharing this with me. So thumbs up the video if you think that that was just way too optimistic and you want to slap me in the face with a wet sock. I don't mind. Don't worry about that. Alright, that's about it for me. I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.